Welcome to Becoming a Sleep Consultant. I'm your host, Jane Havens, a certified sleep consultant and founder of both Snooze Fest by Jane Havens and Center for Pediatric Sleep Management. On this podcast, I'll be discussing the business side of sleep consulting. You'll have an insider's view on launching, growing, and even scaling a sleep consulting business. This is not a podcast about sleep training. This is a podcast about business building and entrepreneurship. Today, I'm excited to be joined by Lauren Kalb, a former teacher turned educational consultant and part-time pediatric sleep consultant who's grown her business in such an impressive way over the past year and a half. Lauren originally stepped into this work while continuing her career in education, but she has quickly built a thriving practice supporting families through the challenges of sleep. What I love about Lauren's story is how she's managed to balance two careers, all while steadily growing her business and creating real impact for the family she works with. In our conversation, we'll dive into how she got started, the strategies that helped her grow, and the lessons she's learned along the way. Lauren, welcome back to the Becoming a Sleep Consultant podcast. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you today.
Thank you so much for having me, Jane. I'm excited as well.
So before we get started, share a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your family, your career, and what made you decide to take on sleep consulting.
So I am the mother of two little girls. I have a 4-year-old and 2-year-old, and it was our 4-year-old 2 years ago that actually made me look into sleep consulting. Our newborn was, I think, 6 or 7 weeks. She had just started sleeping through the night, which kind of just happened naturally. And all of a sudden, our 2-year-old started waking up every single hour. It started in the middle of the night, and then it started at the beginning of the night. And then she, I think, did not sleep for 3 days straight. And I have pictures of her like slumped on the ground, falling asleep wherever, whenever. And I was just at a complete loss because she was always such a good sleeper. I worked with a sleep consultant who got her back on track in, I think, less than 24 hours, which was incredible. And I started thinking about how I could help families. And that was when I started researching Jane's course. I hopped on a call with Jane the second day I was back from maternity leave, and it was life-changing. I did not want to be in education or a teacher forever. I really want to eventually stay home with my girls and bring in some income. And so far, Jane's course and all of the education I've received from her course has allowed me to make my way there. So after that year, I felt like I could make a shift from education into becoming an educational consultant. And that has given me the freedom to spend more time on sleep consulting and really grow my business and invest more time and energy into sleep consulting.
It's so amazing. I'm so proud of you. You've really built an incredible business in a relatively short period of time.
Yeah, and it's been fun along the way. Like my husband keeps saying, when it gets stressful, it's not fun anymore. And it's like, there are stresses that come from it, but the actual sleep consulting part is the part that I look forward to. And I have not been stressed out about it at all, which I think has been a huge blessing.
Yeah. So I remember when we had that conversation on Zoom, you were literally sitting in a classroom, right? Like we had our talk, you were in a classroom and I was sitting at my kitchen table and you decided to enroll in CPSM. Take us through what the first couple of months looked like for you after you finished the course and launched your business. How did you find those first few families to work with?
So I think just completing the course was the one thing that like I thought would be really difficult, but I carved out my day to like make sure I was fitting in the course, whether it be on my commute to school or during my preps or when the girls went to sleep at night. And so I finished the course relatively quick. And then I just started talking to people. So I was part of a June mom group, which is when my daughter was born. And I have no clue because I'm usually such a like shy person, scared to get my name out there. And I promoted myself and was like, hey, I'm Lauren. I have a June baby as well. I just became a pediatric sleep consultant. And this mom reached out to me. She was a single mom by choice who was struggling. And I still talk to her this day. I actually just helped her with potty training her 2-year-old, but she just shared my name. And then she was putting in the chat, like, Lauren was amazing to work with. And another family reached out and then they were praising me. And it was kind of the trickle effect of working with one family, then the next. And they all were June moms at that point. But then they started passing my name along to the July moms and the August moms. And then my name has just gotten around the neighborhood, which has been amazing.
I love that your business, it seems, has grown primarily via word of mouth. And, that only works if you're really good at your job, right? Because if you don't do a good job with families, then they're not going to refer you. And so it's so clear to me when somebody's business is totally driven by word of mouth that you're just really great at what you do. So you should be proud of yourself for that. Besides word of mouth, are you connecting with professionals, whether it be mental health professionals, whether it be preschool directors, daycare owners? Are you leveraging those connections, or are you really relying heavily just on your former clients sharing your name with their friends?
So I would say 80% of my clients come from other clients, but I have started forming some relationships, but it's not where I get most of my clients from. So a lot of postpartum doulas I've started connecting with. That's more so a recent connection as of the spring. So I've connected with two different agencies for that. And then a lot of therapists actually reach out to me that are working with new moms. I don't find that a ton of clients are coming from them, but my clients are meeting with their therapist and recommending me. So I think then the therapist kind of is like, oh, I'm interested in this because you've actually made such a difference in my client's life. And so I do have a bunch of therapists I've worked with, but my biggest referrals of like networking with other people are a lactation consultant that I'm really close with, feeding specialist that I'm close with, and then some preschools, my pediatrician, but not many like huge places. It's all through like my daughter's preschool. People have reached out there. I just recently had a huge preschool reach out to me, which has a network of 500 families that they want to have me for presentation in September. So I'm curious to kind of see how that goes and where that will take me. But really, it's just word of mouth right now. And then some people are coming from other networks.
I love that. So I think you've been in business about a year and a half. Is that right? I looked back and you passed the course about a year and a half ago, maybe a
Yeah.
little bit longer. Was there a moment where you felt like you were really starting to pick up traction? How long did it take, would you say, for you to feel like you really had a consistent flow of families, even if that flow was, lighter than it is now?
Yeah. I think after the first 6 months, I started really seeing consistency. And it went from having 3 clients a month, maybe that first February, which felt like so many, to then having one in March and then four in April and then back to two. And then once July hit, I really picked up. So last July and August was probably well, not right now, but like that first year was my biggest revenue months. And it simultaneously happened when I redid my website with Kelly that you recommended in the course. And I also paid for her SEO. And I started getting more clients through just Google searches around Brooklyn. So I don't know if it happened simultaneously or my name was just getting out. And summer just seems so much crazier than the rest of the year for me. And I don't know if other sleep consultants feel that way too, but like the last 2 summers have been where I'm making most of my money.
That's so interesting. I've never really tracked like which months are bigger, busier than others, but I will say that July of this year was nuts.
It was
Like
so
totally
crazy.
nuts, right?
It
And
was
then
like
for me,
one
like
person
August
after
feels a little
another.
dead. August is slow for me. I don't know if families are away right before school starts, or maybe they don't want to get started right before school starts. I don't know, but July was nuts and August feels quiet for me. But I'll
Yeah.
take it because after a busy month, I'm like just fine to chill out for a little bit.
Well, June was really slow with me, and I was like, this is like, I still made a decent amount of money, and I it was so slow that I reached out to all my past families and did like a referral program and an Ask Me Anything call for like not that much money off. I think like my Ask Me Anything is 225 and I gave families like 50% off and I still ended up making like 3 grand from just doing a bunch of 30-minute calls. And I was like, wow, okay, June was slow, but it was like quick calls that were quick fixes, which was so nice.
Yeah, I always like the change of pace. Sometimes when it's slow, you can take that slow time and, like you said, like do outreach. And I just call that rebuilding season, right?
Yeah.
Like when you have some time off, you can actually dig into your old email files and see who booked a call with you that didn't sign up. And maybe it's time to follow up with them and see if they're still having a hard time. And that's the kind of stuff that I don't necessarily have time to do when I'm really busy. And then when I'm slower, I can take the time and actually dig in and do my follow ups, make networking appointments, and rebuild for the coming months.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
So let's talk about your career in teaching and now educational consulting. How would you say that your experience as a teacher has influenced your work as a sleep consultant? And do you lean on that when you're talking to families? Do you say, I have a former background in, or I have a background in education?
So I think that it's all connected because of working with families and education. I've worked with so many families, and I think that's really where I always shined, where I was able to communicate with families and provide them with feedback and really teach them how to help their students at home. And with sleep consulting, it's since it is so much communication with families and you have to be really clear, it's all stuff that I have used in education, especially like when it comes to report card conferences and like having to do those velvet hammer conversations and really telling them like holding that boundary and making sure that they know what their students need, but also now that it relates to sleep consulting, making sure that I tell them exactly what I see in their child and what they need to do in order to help their child. And I think the biggest thing is like communication. So last week I actually worked with a family that refused to get a video camera and did not text me until it was the middle of the night. And I kept reaching out and I kind of was like, I put a hold on it and I was like, listen, once you get a video camera, you're not going on vacation next. They were going on vacation this week and they wanted to jam it in before vacation. And I was like, let's hold off, get a video camera, come back from vacation, and we will get started. Like we'll restart everything. And I think it's just that communication piece that is so essential in sleep consulting from both parties. So like I make sure my families know the more communication with me is better and I'd rather that so that we are successful. I haven't really shared with the families I work with that I was in education. And I think it's a combination of well, I guess definitely should and could. I have found that I started working a ton with babies, so it wasn't as relevant. Now I'm getting more and more toddlers, which families are like, wow, is there something else that I don't know about you because you're really good at this? And so now that I'm getting more toddlers, I think I'm definitely going to lean into education. I'm also becoming a parent coach as well. And so, like, they're using me for those situations as well as sleep.
Yeah, so you mentioned that you supported a family through potty training. Can you share a little bit about your sort of evolution from doing just sleep consulting to doing parent coaching, which involves, I'm sure, situations beyond potty training?
So I've actually had, I would say like 6 or 7 families come to me, not just with sleep, but to do potty training and sleep at the same time. I find that it is a lot of families that aren't starting potty training. It's more so they're struggling to get their child to poop on the potty and pee is totally fine. It's like setting up family meetings and having conversations with them and role playing and whatnot. And so I don't want to say it's like fully potty training. It is technically called potty training, but it's more so like setting those boundaries with kids and making sure that you're setting them up for success and also role playing a ton with them. So everything I do is all based on role playing after the age. Like we'll do role playing with 12-month-olds. And parents are like, but they don't understand it. And I'm like, you'll be shocked. Like, yes, they do understand it, and let's do it. And just getting them on board with it.
One thing that I heard you when you were saying to that family that they need to get their video monitor and let's not start until they're back from their vacation. One thing that I sort of sensed from you is this confidence in your ability to hold boundaries with your clients, which I think is like really beautiful modeling for what then your clients are expected to do with their children, right? This is something I see brand new sleep consultants really struggle with. They start working with a family and the family pushes back in some sort of way, whether it's they don't want to get a video monitor or they want to start 4 days before they're about to leave for a family vacation, right? And a really green sleep consultant might say, okay, no worries, we'll just work with what we've got. And your attitude is like, no, we're not doing that. We're going to set you up for success. We're going to do it in a way that I know works. Let's kick the can down the road a week and really make sure that we're all ready to be successful. Is that something that you had to sort of grow into, or did you always have that confidence from the very beginning?
I think I've grown into that and I've learned the hard way of thinking I could jam it in before vacation and then it all doesn't work when they get back from vacation. And I also think I've learned over the year and a half what I want sleep consulting to look like for me and the flexibility I want to give families. So I'm in Brooklyn and a lot of families do have second homes and are traveling each weekend. And so some families I'll be like, actually, I want to start with you on a Monday or Sunday, have 4 nights in home, and then you leave every single weekend. So I want to make sure that your little one can sleep in your home and your vacation home. And oftentimes, like they do phenomenal, but like that's a lot of people's reality. So I figured out how to be flexible, create that flexibility, but also hold boundaries with families.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And the example you just gave is exactly what I was going to share because I have a lot of that too. So, in a situation where it is the reality that these families are traveling every single weekend, okay, that's fine. That's your reality. Let's build that into the plan. That looks very different than a family that just happens to be going away for their one summer vacation 4 days after they hired you and they want to spend 4 days with you and then in Disney World for a week and then they want to be back. And obviously that's not ideal, right?
Yeah, no, thank you.
Exactly. What advice would you share to brand new sleep consultants who are just at the beginning phases of this and feeling like they're still trying to figure it all out and get their feet wet?
So I actually just talked to one last week or Friday, Molly. And I think that my biggest advice for her was you don't have to have everything together in order to get started. I think what I hear so many sleep consultants ask me is like, well, how do you do the website? How do you set up this? How do you set up that? And like all of that was not created for me when I got my first client. Liability insurance I had a payment system, but like my website was not perfect. It was far from perfect. And I didn't have like any flow of things. My sleep plan was not perfect. Now I have a template on Canva. It's all pretty. It was not like that. The first sleep plan was like just a Google Doc, nothing fancy. And I think for all new sleep consultants, not to get hung up on all the little things that will come as your business is growing. And you don't have to spend a lot of money up front. Like start getting your clients and making some money and then go make your website fancy or go hire someone to help with Instagram if you want to. But Jane's course has provided all the necessary things to start and like just get started. Don't be scared to get started.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic advice. I ran my sleep consulting business, I think for 3 years, literally sending my sleep plans in the body of an email. Like it wasn't even an attachment. Like it would say in the subject line, sleep plan dash Riley dash 2 years old. And that was it. And then in the email was the sleep plan. I didn't have a pretty document. There was no header, nothing. And I built a very successful business earning six figures as a sleep consultant, sending sleep plans in the body of an email. So I think that that is fantastic advice. I agree with you completely. And also, as you gain experience and as you start earning money, you can do exactly what you did, which is to reinvest and to have somebody build you a beautiful website and to maybe put some systems in place and have better workflow. But I agree with you entirely. None of that is necessary to be successful. I think you're proof of that. And I do agree that it keeps a lot of people stuck. People say to me all the time that they're afraid to put themselves out there because they don't have X, Y, and Z ready or set up. And I don't know, I just think consulting was a thing long before the internet, right? Like consulting existed before Instagram. You don't need Instagram to grow your business. Consulting was a thing before, Canva, right? So
Yeah.
you don't need a beautiful Canva doc. I still don't. My sleep plan is a Word doc with my logo at the top, and that is it. And it works for me, and nobody's ever questioned me. So I think that that is fantastic advice. And for you, if you're thinking ahead to the next year and a half, where do you see your business in the future?
I think the plan is so the original plan was a little different than like what the plan is now. Like I think I always thought it would stay part-time, and as scary as it is to go full-time, I'm starting to see it become a reality. And so the best thing about becoming an educational consultant is I can work per diem 1 or 2 days a week. And so I do think there's still a piece of my heart that is still in education. So the goal is to possibly do that 1 or 2 days a week and really make sleep consulting full time. So kind of flip flop it a little how it is now and give me the ability to stay home with our children and also work with families. I think eventually down the road, I would love to do like in-person visits and supporting families overnight, but that's like a year or two away.
Yeah, maybe when your own kids are a little bit
Exactly. It's a
older.
little too
Yeah.
much
Yeah,
right now.
I get that. Well, I just have to congratulate you on all of your success. It's so clear that you've gained so much confidence over the past year and a half. That's what I see as the biggest marker for growth in you. And I see this in other sleep consultants that when your business really starts to take off, you gain this aura about you, like you just know what you're doing. And I love that you have that a year and a half in, and I can't wait to see where you are another year or two down the road. So congrats on all of your success. And this is only the beginning, right? A year and a half into your business is literally only the beginning. So you're just getting started.
Well, thank you so much. And I appreciate everything you have taught me.
We'll have to have one of these conversations another year or so down the road.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Becoming a Sleep Consultant podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, it would mean so much to me if you would rate, review, and subscribe. When you rate, review, and subscribe, this helps the podcast reach a greater audience. I am so grateful for your support. If you would like to learn more about how you can become a certified sleep consultant, head over to my Facebook group, Becoming a Sleep Consultant, or to my website, thecpsm.com. Thanks so much, and I hope you will tune in for the next episode.